I was thinking once I have all that money, I'll be happy and free. And then I had it, and I was the opposite. Bank account was bigger, but workload hadn't changed, pressure hadn't changed, nothing. When I achieved financial freedom, I did not feel free at all because I was still trapped in the same system.
I have a gut feel around certain things. If it hits on a certain level, it's almost always right.
There's a tendency within you to want to control things.
Oh yeah.
Your desire to be free and independent comes also from wanting to control. You want to control your own state. You want to control what you experience, and you want to be independent from everything.
I had the idea that, okay, once I have enough money, I don't need anyone anymore. I can finally be the way I am, because then it doesn't matter if someone likes it or not.
While you enter a room or a group of people, an organization, right away you see where things are not right.
Yeah.
So right away, boom.
The mind is very quick to identify with a certain amount of money on the bank account and then say, yeah, that's now the new normal. Now make sure you 10x that.
Going back to your visionary quality, because you see things so really well, you can feel responsible, and then the world can be on your shoulders.
That's a very familiar feeling, yeah.
When you look into the outside world, when you look at the, let's say, the whole entrepreneurial scene, the business scene, do you see that there's a shift happening there? Is it going somewhere? What is your perspective?
I would say there is a shift, and at the same time there's no real shift.
Before we go deeper, if this is the kind of conversation you want more of, subscribe or share it with someone who comes to mind. So when you go back to the early stages of entrepreneurship and also the company that you massively scaled, what were your biggest drivers back then?
So I have, obviously I can look at it from two perspectives. Back then it was money. Today I can see what the meaning of the money was for me. But back then I was driven by money. I was driven by the idea of achieving success fast to then have freedom. But I wasn't really aware of that. Like that I see now, I look back like, okay, I was constantly driven by a desire to find freedom. Freedom from the system, freedom from needing anyone, freedom from having to be in a certain way because I needed people to like me. And my idea was, once I have enough money, then I'll be free from all that.
Do you know what was behind that longing for freedom?
Today I would say a desire to express myself authentically and truthful in any moment. Because I had the idea that, okay, once I have enough money, I don't need anyone anymore. And if I don't need anyone, I can finally be the way I am, because then it doesn't matter if someone likes it or not. I can just do whatever the fuck I want and be whatever the fuck I want. That was my idea. And funny enough, like this freedom I was looking for, I do enjoy a certain freedom that comes from having enough money, and especially the freedom to travel whenever I want. It's pretty much the only thing. Let's say 20%, and then 80% of my feeling of being free is like I just express myself, like, and very truthfully in many moments.
So did it actually happen? So when you became financially free, that you could express yourself more authentically?
No, because I hadn't learned how to do that. That was a problem, and that's what I realized later. When I achieved financial freedom, I did not feel free at all because I was still trapped in the same system. I was just trapped in the same system. And
so trapped in which system were you still?
In the system of let's say having to deliver something to people other than myself, so mainly my shareholders, for example. Trapped in the idea of, okay, I have to be in a certain way in order to be accepted and liked, no matter if that's now my employees or my shareholders or my partner or my friends. And so that completely hadn't changed. And then also my identity was built around status. So, okay, what's my net worth? How am I living? What's the car I'm driving? What's the house I'm living in?
Yeah.
So with that, freedom of, like, say, a big amount of cash coming in is achieved for a day or two. And then the mind starts to turn to the next bigger shiny object.
Exactly.
And that thing never stops. It simply never stops. I mean, I know so many people that are super rich and they still do the same shit over and over again. And
They often tend to become more unhappy.
yeah, totally. Totally. And yeah, luckily I was able to completely step out of that game. Like I fully stepped out of that. And
How
that feels
did
really
you
good.
do that? How did you step out of that game?
So first there was a realization, like honestly I felt a bit cheated. So I was thinking once I have all that money I'll be happy and free. And then I had it and I was the opposite. I mean, for sure.
Is it correct that you did 2 exits with the company? So first the private equity.
Exactly, like first the private equity. That was an interesting moment because let's say 5 years before we sold to private equity, I told myself if I make 2-3 million, I just stop working. There's no way I'm gonna continue that shit. Because with being in debt, which I was in my first company, I don't know, at some point probably a minus 100,000 in debt. Imagining to have access to 1 million was like, what the fuck? There's no way I'm gonna keep working like this. So then this happened, but it also happened with a promise to the private equity guys to deliver them a big exit. And keeping that promise and being seen as a guy that can make it happen was more important in that moment, or let's say there was more fear around not doing that than stop working, using the money that I have and let someone else do it. So now I had that money, but I was in the next mission to then deliver the next big exit for the private equity guys, right?
Yeah.
And then for them,
So there was no relief whatsoever at that
nothing.
point?
No. I mean, for sure my lifestyle became nicer. Nicer holidays, nicer car, nicer apartments. Workload went up. And I'd say perceived quality of life didn't change.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was first exit. And
How did it make you feel?
I would say, I mean, for sure I also was proud a bit, but not too much. And I felt immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm on the next mission. Stress continues, so.
And maybe even more with
way more. Way more stress. So there was no real relief or anything. And to be honest, if I feel back into it, again, it felt nice to be able to spend money without thinking about it too much. But that's really it.
Yeah.
There was no big relief or anything. And then second exit came, bank account became a little bigger. Same shit happened again. Now I had to deliver to the board of Henke, so the FMCG company holders. Same shit, nothing had changed.
Yeah.
Bank account was bigger, but workload hadn't changed, pressure hadn't changed, nothing. So there was no freedom in it. And that's where the realization kicked in. I was like, yeah, shit, this doesn't work. I honestly felt a bit cheated because I always had the idea of once I'm there, then, I'll finally be free. I realized, so no, it's not the case. Also seeing how the mind is very quick to identify with a certain money on the a certain amount of money on the bank account, attach the self-worth to it, and then say, yeah, that's now the new normal. You're surrounded by people who have the same. Now make sure you 10x that to then be bigger than them.
Yeah.
My mind really quick in doing that. So yeah, I realized it doesn't work, and there were a couple of events that made me realize this is not working. The most important one was a meditation retreat. So meditation was, I don't know if you've heard of Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
So my wife back then, she was suffering from a terminal heart-lung disease, and Western medicine didn't have any answers. So she said, hey, let's go to the meditation retreat, maybe alternative feeling for me. And I said, yeah, okay, I come with you. And you have to imagine, like, maybe later when we're back home, I'll show you a picture of how I looked like 7 years ago. Nothing to do with how I look and like appear today.
Yeah.
And I arrived there like this, you know, full-on business guy, like at this meditation setting. I was like, fuck this, like these people are all crazy. But then I didn't want to ruin the experience for her, so
So the trigger was really your wife to go there.
Yeah, like I had no fucking way. I really wanted to support her and went there. And day 2 or 3, I said, okay, like I didn't want to ruin the experience for her, so I said, okay, give it a try and just start meditating. And honestly, it was maybe the 2nd or 3rd meditation in my life. I tried a bit of Headspace before, but you know, didn't do anything big. In that meditation, well, from one moment to the other, something had shifted. I experienced a level of love that I didn't know was available to human beings. Completely shifted my understanding of reality, and I came out of it and I was like, yeah, God exists and actually lives inside of me. And since then I carry that. It's not even a belief, it's a knowing. Like I simply know, since then I know something about the universe, I would say.
Yeah.
That isn't a belief, I know it. And that has shifted, there was a massive shift for me.
This was post-exit?
No, that was half a year before we had the final exit.
Okay, yeah.
And that actually, as beautiful as it sounds, put me into even deeper crisis. Because now I knew there's something outside of that, but I actually don't enjoy so much. There's something big, something to be investigated, something really beautiful. And here I am.
On the wrong track.
Yeah. So that put me in quite a deep crisis.
What did that mean, crisis? That's
like I lost even more meaning in my doing. I mean, there was absolutely no meaning attached to what I was doing. Absolutely no meaning. And that then over the course of another 1.5 years led to a state of feeling really, really depressed, no meaning, and let's go here, and a strong desire to escape my day-to-day, so to say. And these escapes I was mainly seeking in like parties, drugs, sex, just to feel and to be alive and to finally also be a bit myself. And then someday, I think it was summer 2022, I realized that I really need some help actually to deal with my state. Also definitely by then had a very unhealthy relationship to cocaine.
Yeah.
And then went my friend Pete, who's like breathwork and coach. Breathwork guy and coach, went to a week-long retreat in Greece, and there, 3rd session of breathwork, I really started to crack open, started feeling again, had emotions coming out. I mean, I hadn't cried for like 20 years before, and all of that shit came out, and I felt alive again and more connected to myself.
Yeah.
I came back from that week and noticed I can live differently. So then started to clean up all my shit, started to tell my ex-partner the truth, and started to move away from the drugs and the parties and the sex and everything. And there was then followed a few years of like, kind of like hard work on myself.
When you look back at that period of partying and drugs, was there also something you enjoyed about it? Like I can relate a little bit to it and look back. It was also fun.
Oh yeah.
And it was at the same time very trying to get away from what wants to be looked at.
Yeah, so clearly there were elements of it that were fun. What was not so much fun is that, especially about the sex part, no one knew about it. So I'd be cheating on my partner.
Yeah.
that made it less enjoyable because it was always like hidden, let's say.
Yeah.
And today I have a very healthy relationship to partying. And my partner and me, we enjoy going to a festival, and to be honest, like every couple of months I enjoy a little trip on MDMA or so. But I don't need it. I don't need it to escape.
Yeah.
I don't need it to get through my day to day. I have an experience from a place of joy, and I come back to a place of where I really enjoy my life. And this gives me an interesting experience, or maybe even some insights and whatever.
Yeah.
That's totally different to, blasting myself away with cocaine. And I'm also like, I can see the fun part, but given that it was really like to run away from something, it wasn't healthy.
No, I get it.
And it was needed. If you tell me tomorrow I can never ever go to a party, that's fine. I'd say I'll be a bit sad because I really enjoyed it, but not a big deal. I can be with my shit and look at it and sit in meditation around it. Very different to back then. I needed that. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
So that's very different.
So what happened then? Because that was before you did the second exit, that this process started?
Yeah, that was where the process started, and I basically just started to dive deeper into the topic of meditation and insight, and following Joe Dispenza meditations and starting to read some books. Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth was, a game changer for me. Basically a new topic came into my life. And I just continued meditating, studying, went to Costa Rica, did some plant medicine, kind of like the typical journey somehow. But I was still working in the corporate environment, and we had sold the company. So then I was basically running the company within the corporate setup and had to report to a board.
You were still in an earnout?
Luckily, I was able to negotiate in a way where we wouldn't have an earnout.
Okay.
So they bought 75%. And that's it. So that was good. I really stayed on board because feeling of obligation, feeling of, okay, I need to make this right. And it wasn't for the money anymore. It was really just for, I can't let them down. I need to find, and then the market became difficult. So really like revenues came down, profit went away, we needed financing, it's a big disaster. And then trying to like find a way to turn around within the corporate, which wasn't easy. And everyone did their best in the end. Then we found a way out after 2 years, which seemed to be okay for everyone. Had to do mass layoffs, 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, as painful as it was, and I also took on too much because at the same time, the health of my partner was deteriorating. So I feel like I took on too much, more than I could hold. And now I can look back at it and say, okay, but it's also true that I stayed until the very end. And did, I did what I was able to do. And so I also feel pretty complete around that chapter. And these 2 years between, has even longer, 3 years between having the first insight and glimpse of, that big experience, and then finally getting out of running a company, that was quite painful actually.
Because it didn't feel aligned.
It didn't feel aligned. Not only that it didn't feel aligned, it was also the phase where like the business wasn't doing so well anymore. So needed extra attention and extra hard work actually. Also facing the situation that we had just sold it, and then I wasn't performing the way it was expected, so I had to manage disappointments on all levels basically. And then being in a corporate setup, I mean, that's the reason why I chose an entrepreneurial path. I mean, I didn't even study, right? So I have never worked as an employee, and then being an employee for 2 years is just a nightmare for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. So once you fully got out of the company, how was that?
That was December 2022. Yeah, so let's say then a few more things to end, or let's say early 2023. That's when things came to an end. So about 3, 4, 2.5 years now, a bit more.
How did that feel?
Yeah.
It was truly the end of an era?
Yeah, the thing is that, I didn't really feel into it, to be honest. I think it's right to say like definitely the end of an era in a certain way, yeah. It definitely felt good to have none of these obligations anymore and have more freedom. But it also raised the question of what to do next. Right? Which luckily I waited for quite some time before I actually did something big. Like I did a few small things, like created a retreat company and together with 2 friends, but nothing where I would be heavily involved.
Yeah.
So I also needed some time to do the first mistakes as an investor. So I needed to learn that as well. But then before I really stepped back into creation, I waited almost 2 years. Like earlier this year, I was the first time I really created something where I was more involved again. It's my company Acta. And then later this year with my partner Sophie, our retreat company. So these are the 2 main creations.
And those 2 years of not doing a lot, was it sitting on your hands, or is it naturally flow that creation was needed now?
Yeah, no, I'm not this type of guy. So I was constantly first there was the breakup with my ex-partner, and that was a long, deep process. Then I had kind of a phase where I was more in, let's say, monk mode thing. So I basically was at home in winter in Berlin, spent a lot of time in the monastery here near Munich, but then also was at home. So mainly was meditating, say 3 hours a day. Would go completely offline from Saturday evening to Monday morning, and just no phone, no book, no nothing.
Yeah.
Just meditating, sitting. And I worked in a hospice for 6 months.
Oh wow.
To kind of see death as a spiritual practice. And also to do some compassionate work as well.
What did it do for you working in the hospice?
It helped me to investigate death. What is it? What does it want from us? Where does it come from? How does it look like when it happens?
Why did you have the desire to do that?
I was drawn to it because 5 years ago I was in Bali Silence Retreat, and I had discovered a book from Stephen Levine. It's not the trauma guy, Peter. It's Stephen Levine. It's a spiritual author. He has been pioneering conscious dying in the US in the 70s and 80s. And he had written a book, it's called Who Dies? And I opened that book, started reading it, and it inspired me deeply. It's constantly asking this question, who is it that is dying? So
during life or while you're dying?
He would say that, when are you not dying?
Ah, interesting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? At what point are you start dying? Where are you not dying? And these are all these super interesting investigations into death.
Yeah.
And it's just so many stories. And he has done 30, 40 years of supporting people on a spiritual way into death. And that was just super inspiring, deeply touching for me. And then I met one of his friends. The guy, Stephen, is already dead, but a friend of him, Dale, is still alive. He's 87 or so. And I did some coaching with him on how to work with people that die. And yeah, but that basically brought me to the hospice work. I wanted to make this experience myself. And yeah, also practice. Like practice is, am I able to be with someone in terror and distress? Can I hold that? What does it bring up in me?
What were your beliefs about death at that time?
Yeah, at that time I had already, like I had studied the books of Jung, and I said, and my Zen practice was also like already quite deep, I would say, where it's hard to describe, but I'm not holding a strong belief around death. It's more to me, it's honestly more knowing. So I know that all of this here will come to an end, and in a certain way, it will be the realization that it never existed in the first place.
Sorry again?
I said in a certain way, it will be the insight when that thing here comes to an end.
Yeah.
The insight will be around that it never existed in the first place.
Yeah.
And this is now just words trying to put something that I hold like deep inside of me.
Yeah.
And I want to just be very clear, I will be terrified when I die. Like, and don't want to give the idea of like, oh yeah, I figured it out, I just disappeared to nothingness. No. Like my ego will fucking hate it, and my body will also not like it. So just want to own that. I don't want to die. But I've developed some comfort around it, I would say, some comfort.
But there's a knowing that you will keep on existing.
Yeah, or maybe there's no, I wouldn't say that. I would say there's a knowing that it's all good, without knowing how that will look like. I would never say I continue existing, because the I is, to my point of view, like, I don't trust my I so much. Like the idea of
What you identify with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say I can only say the way I feel about death is, it's a terrifying process, and it will be all good in the end. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. And this comes from certain experiences that I made in meditation, and just a general surrenderedness that I developed over time. So yeah, I feel pretty surrendered to life in many regards, not all, but many. And then these books were extremely helpful, because they don't say anything about death, but they help to investigate for myself and make my own insights and own observations. And yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting phase as well, in between, let's say, finishing the company and then starting something new. I had this monk time, then I had my breakup. I had a phase of, kind of like being very spiritual, like dedicating a lot of my time to spiritual work and lots of meditation and sitting, and spent some time on Bali again. And then only like earlier this year, I was like, okay, I feel ready to do something again. But also only with the right people. And there I had the most important insight around how to do business that I ever got. I realized that I needed someone that doesn't need me as a business partner. It's my co-founder. We can do great stuff together, and if I disappear tomorrow, he will be sad, and he will be fine, and the other way around. And it's the same what I have in my relationship. Like, it's beautiful to share everything and to share and do life together. It's super beautiful, and we are both capable of living life by ourselves. And I realized this is the part of me that enjoys freedom so much and wants to feel free.
Yes,
that
you
part-
didn't want to be trapped in any system, and this is what
Exactly,
you're
and no
experiencing.
dependencies. And in a certain way, there are dependencies in my relationship and also in my business, but none of them is life-threatening dependency. So if that would come to an end, it would be the saddest thing in the world, and we would all continue living and existing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, once I realized that, and once I found that, I realized that my co-founder Luis has exactly that quality. I was like, okay, we can do something together. Because I feel free. I don't feel like, and that doesn't mean I'm not committing to something and I take on responsibilities, but I know that ultimately I'm still free and he won't die if I let him down.
Yeah.
I'm not intending to do so, but I need to feel that this is available.
And is it also a different way of being an entrepreneur? Because
Oh, yeah.
the company is less about you.
Yeah.
I think with the former company, you carried the thing.
Oh yeah. It's totally different. It has nothing to do with my old way of operating. So unconsciously, like I was never, let's say, big in the press or anything, but within the business, I wanted to be the guy. And I have surrounded myself with people who would allow me to be in that role. And also with people who I could save from. So I wanted to save people.
Yeah.
So give them something that is maybe a bit too big and then come in and save them. So then to be the savior, the hero. I had managed to step out of my business in 2019. I had managed to hire a CEO, like we are a senior guy, massive process, big package. I'd managed to like bring him as a CEO and to step out a bit and be more in, more supporting function for a couple of months. Then he didn't perform so well. My co-founder and the board, they came to me and said, hey, you're the only one that can do that, blah, 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 we need you. And guess what? This freedom I had just created for myself. I threw it overboard and came back in just to save once again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very different, very different.
So what I'm curious to, what I see with many entrepreneurs before their first proper exit, there's a drive coming from scarcity or from their shadows.
Yeah.
And the exit is there. There's financial abundance.
Yeah.
And then there's also less of a push to create the next big thing.
Yeah.
Well, there can still be the ego doing a lot of pushing there, but there's less of a need to get going.
Yeah.
How is this for you right now in your new creations? And I understand they will be coming from a different place.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, for example, thinking big or small, or what happens with the drive?
Yeah, that's interesting. The drive is taking a bit a different direction. So for me, it's the drive is very much funneled into the here and now. So I choose things that I really enjoy, things that I feel like are very close to my heart, and I'm very focused around, okay, what can I actually like do with it, and what is the next immediate step, and I'm not so worried about where the thing will go. I have to say, for my company, I co-founded the Acta company, my co-founder is covering that part. He's like 10 years younger, full of drive, thinking big, and so on. And I support him in that. And I love the big vision. I buy into the big vision. But then when I look at what I do for the company, I come in and hold a meditation circle. I do breath work with the team. I participate in like important strategic discussions and stuff. But I'm
Less in the trenches.
Yeah, less in the trenches, and also not so worried. I think what I'm trying to say is, like, for me it's important that the way we come together every day is filled with meaningful things and joy. And not we come together, let's sacrifice the next seven days to then have a brighter future in 3 years. I don't buy into that anymore. And this is pretty much true for all my creations. I'm like, okay, what would feel really good to do today with the state I'm in, the energy that I have, the tools that I have, what can I create? And then I go into my I have a couple of businesses, apart from the retreat company with my girlfriend, and then Agda. I also have a couple of investments where I'm mentoring the founders. And I have a meditation platform for Zen meditation. So no matter what, I try to come in and see, okay, let's do something meaningful today. And that will eventually lead to maybe something big, and maybe also something not so big, I don't know. But I don't want to be driven by the idea of something needing to be a certain size in 5 years' time. And then backwards engineering the business plan, and then working on that every day. I don't do that anymore.
That is something from the past.
Yeah.
And can you imagine ever going in again as the lead trench guy?
No,
that's
over. That's done. I will much rather live in a hut somewhere in the woods and meditate all day, or live in a cave before I ever do that again. And also, it's not needed. Honestly, if I just look at all the good things that are happening in the businesses I'm involved with, a mindset of just let's look at what is here right now. And yes, for sure, you need a bit of planning, right? You need to pay your employees and you need to look at your funding. That's all true, but if the drive can go into the here and now and into creating something that is beautiful and close to my heart, then I can say by now it works. And then the planning is still there and the business plan is still there, and that's all needed, but it's not the predominant thing that dictates all the actions every day, if that makes sense. Now I see myself more evolving as a teacher, maybe. I decided to host my own retreats. That's quite fun for me. I like to bring through experiences. And I really want to build companies in a different and new way. So like in Agda, we meditate together, we do breath work, we have deep sharing circles. So my vision is for that a place where people can speak their truth and discover it and own it and work with it. And these are the things that get me excited. And honestly, it's a big exploration around how big will that become? What will be the business success around that?
I'm very curious. We'll dive into that later. But I saw your blueprint scan. And there's just this massive entrepreneurial power in your system. Next to the things that you just described. So I'm curious, let's say in 3, 4, 5 years from now, whether what you're saying is still true, or whether you found a way to integrate both, and maybe you've decided to create something again, which is also, let's say, 50% entrepreneurial, next to being the teacher and a facilitator. Very curious to that. That's what I wanted to say.
Honestly, there's a part of me that believes that, let's say, the businesses that I'm driving in the different setups, plus me being in this teacher role, in 3 to 5 years from now, could be quite big actually. But without me, let's say, sitting there and saying, in 5 years I need to have 1 million followers. That's not how I do it. But I can totally see that. And entrepreneurship is honestly, the moment I can. Just this morning, I got super excited because last night I had an idea for my Zen project. And I was like, fuck, how could we not see that? And since then, I'm super excited because I know this thing is going to work out. And I want to bring it into the world now. And I've already called people on the way here. It's like, we need to do this, let's go. And everyone is hyped and on fire and loves it. I enjoy that spirit.
That's that undercurrent of purpose that you feel, of course, this is it. This needs to happen. What is currently your biggest? Let's say earthy enjoyment.
The biggest earthy enjoyment?
So we sit down for a few minutes?
Let's do it. I was honestly just taking it easy with my partner and enjoying life a bit, you know, like things that we like doing, traveling, gym, good food, party, combined with some meaningful work here and there. That's probably the most earthy. I do enjoy sitting meditation. Like this actually gives me quite some joy. I don't meditate to get somewhere.
Yeah.
I simply enjoy this. I can drop into this silence for hours and just be there. It's actually quite joyful for me. And I get this like subtle feeling of joy that has like no rational reason.
Yeah.
And peace. Oh yeah. You've been talking a lot about freedom, but peace was something I've been looking for a lot in my life.
It has been a process for me. Like years ago when I started meditating properly, then you start having those experiences, and then in the beginning was I want more of those.
Oh yeah.
To let go of that and indeed just be totally comfortable with nothing happening, just sitting.
Yeah. Oh, I had that process as well. Yeah. And sometimes still have it. Yeah.
Yeah. I had I think it was 7 or 8 years ago, I went on a retreat and as a participant, and I went very deep. And breathwork was a small part of it, and after a whole process, that breathwork that shoot me into just infinity, just experiencing the divine. And for me, it was like, okay, this is way beyond what any psychedelic or ayahuasca did for me. This was essence. And then I came back and I called with my coach, also one of my co-founders, and she sees through space and time, like there's nothing to hide from her. And I asked her, like, should I do this again, like this process, because it was so powerful? And she told me, well, if you want to entertain yourself, you should do it again. Like, she really didn't give a shit about that divine experience. Like, you're here for a different reason. You're here to be in this earthy realm and not to seek the way out. That for me was like a very sharp mirror that I needed to hear.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I recently did mushrooms, and and actually, let's say I have deep inside, I for myself deep inside know God, and then I wanted to like just make sure I know it correctly. So I went in with that question into the mushroom journey, like, who's God? And the mushroom said, basically the medicine said, like, if you ever, like, I'm gonna show you how life looks without God. And it took away like all my ground. It took away all my ground. I felt like not safe, not secure, not protected. Again, all ground, like I'm pretty grounded, especially with my meditation, I'm super grounded usually. It took it away and I felt like, fuck, like life is not safe. And then it basically said, look, this is life without God, like don't you doubt it ever again. And since then I have, like this now 8 months ago, I will not touch any plant medicine or even, no, there's no way. Because I know the only reason why I do it is for me, because I still doubt what I know. And the solution is just stop doubting that what I have experienced and I know, which is here in that moment. Just stop doubting it. If I ever come in and it wasn't a nice experience. That was the first time I had like a bad trip, so to say.
You needed that lesson.
And it said like, I show you life without God, have fun. It's pretty fucked up.
I did a few ayahuasca sessions a long time ago, and then at the same, like I think I did my 3rd. And that week I had some profound realizations, and I thought, well, let's check it in the ayahuasca session. And then indeed, it's confirmed. And one day I had a friend of mine coming to this was my monk year, let's say, in a little wooden house near the dunes at sea. And he came on a Friday night and he brought some mushrooms. I thought, oh, nice, we're gonna have a fun night. And then we went really deep and I surrendered to the nothingness. And he had a very bad trip. And then next morning we were at the sea and I realized, okay, this was the last time. I'm gonna stop this thing. I don't need it anymore. And then I went to Nepal for a month with my partner for trekking. And when I came back, I had this, let's say, date with one of my former clients and his wife and an employee of mine to do, there's one restaurant in Amsterdam where you can do you can smoke hash inside the restaurant. So you get very stoned. The enjoy is really nice food. So I came back from Nepal, and then I saw in the local newspaper the restaurant was closed because there was being shot at or something. So instead of reading the sign like you shouldn't do that anymore, we ended up doing space cake at this guy's home. And I was wondering, should I do this? Should I not? Like I made this kind of promise to myself to not do it, but then fuck it, one last time. We all had one piece of that space cake, little piece. The guy ended up in the hospital because he stopped breathing. Fuck. I went into a full deep like ayahuasca experience and was like, motherfucker, you knew you so it was a big mirror like, man, you didn't need to do this, and you knew it. And since then I think it was 8 years ago, I never touched anything again. Like it's the pure way, that is your way.
Yeah, funny, interesting that you had similar experience. I think that's kind of like what happens, right? If we have our insights, and then the way I see it a bit, like my Zen master once said, like he's obviously not supporting plant medicine, but he's accepting of people doing it. And he said a couple of times to people like, how it's about, so the medicine was really nice to you, or like even that's a different word, like I can't remember the word, but like generous. The medicine was very generous with you. And I think that's true, that like we go into these journeys on a path of using medicine, and it's generous until we have made the learnings we had to make. And then it switches to like, I gave you what I have to give, now stop asking. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I did Iboga once.
What is that?
Iboga. Iboga is that root from Africa. So generally you say Iboga is the grandfather, whereas ayahuasca is the grandmother. Iboga is like a 30 hours journey, and it's brutal. It's brutal. I lost my ability to speak, my ability to move, like it's gone. And it's a whole like cleansing of the mind. It's basically a life full. Everyone has more or less the same experience. It's a full life review, basically, for like hours. And then on the second serving, then the 2 days later, because you need to 1 day in between a break, and then second serving, it's usually the death experience where you dissolve into nothingness. But only if the clearing process was successful before. And that was brutal and very healing. It was a real reset to my damaged dopamine receptors. So I came out of it. A year no alcohol, a year no coffee was just easy. It helped me to, let's say, remove the final issues around, like, wanting to soothe myself with porn or anything in moments of high intensity. So it was healing, I have to say, and I will never do it again.
Yeah, that is indeed an interesting thing. Like it can be healing, it can be insightful, and at the same point in time, it's done.
Yeah, it's important to know.
Or should be done. And that's many people go wrong there. I feel like they keep on. You cannot get truly addicted to it, but they do get addicted to it in some way because they're not willing to do the true inner work.
Exactly. For me, it's like it gives you like a fast forward view. If I do the work, do my meditation, do my breath work, like more integrated breath work, do my coachings, I can get there. And that makes it worse, like doing all the hard work and actually living it in the moment, a moment of intensity, a moment when there is conflict or terror. Like, can I then stay in my practice, right?
Exactly.
And it makes it, and it gives me an idea of how life will feel if I do that, but it doesn't take away the work.
Yeah.
And then if I just do it to feel that, then it becomes an escape.
Spot on.
And yeah, I'm guilty of that as well. But I learned my lesson.
Bring du das Horn, let's go play. Ben en dichter dan ik ben dat.
Do you have any connection with Munich or not at all?
No, not really, but it's funny, like somehow I got invited to this event last week, and from that event Toby invited me, and then through Toby I think I got to you, I believe. So somehow and suddenly something's going on in Munich. But,
Okay.
since when are you doing this type of work?
So for me, this journey started with the Blueprint Scan. So, what is it? I think 10 years ago, I started experiencing lack of meaning in my life. My former company got successful, and I didn't feel the purpose of it anymore. And then I met a man, his name is Laurens. Back then I thought he was just a very good executive coach. Now I would call him enlightened psychologist. And he started guiding me. And I was a full-on atheist back then. Like I got fully into the mind. My search throughout life to what is this reality ended up in atheism and nihilism. And he kind of coached me out of it. Like he could really tell me like, it's really time for you to get rid of this pitiful atheist theories of yours. And I was like, what the fuck are you saying, man? This is science. But I ended up being able to hear him at a certain point in time. So he used the Blueprint Scan. So 35 years ago, he just had this download. He saw how from in the quantum realm, we are wired into our physicality. What it actually measures is the 7 energy centers within your system. And I have a background as a psychologist, so I know many different tools, but to me this was the most astonishing thing I'd ever seen, what it's able to show you. So at a certain point in time, we got into the conversation of, hey, what if we collaborate? So I started working with the scan more as a consultant coach, and it took some time before I realized that this is an important pillar, but it's not the whole thing. So my former company was a network for CEOs of large and medium-sized companies. And I realized, okay, but something like that wants to emerge again, but on a totally different level, different scale, and a different kind of people. And it's more about consciousness. Yeah, so about 8 years ago, I set the first steps with it. And then gradually it started evolving.
Nice.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was like, when I had the realizations of, okay, but everything is divine, instead of everything is nothing. I thought, oh, but everyone should know this. And also the work with the scan and what I was doing, like, okay, I wish it for everyone. And it took some time for me to realize, but now I'm here to create co-create a movement for other more conscious entrepreneurs and leaders while I'm on that same path. That's what I'm good at. That's where also I'm able to give value. Like my system gets excited when there's power. Like, well, someone like you know what it is to stand in your power.
Yeah.
As a creator, and now as a conscious creator. And this is what I believe, that when pioneers like you keep evolving, start co-creating in the slipstream, the world can increase its frequency. So it took me some time to realize that let's say the audience to work with and the community that I like to be a part of is the entrepreneurial audience. But it took some time. Yeah. It has been a very evolving journey. Like I've been able to see the long-term vision since the beginning. But the unfolding of it is a very slow process with thousands of pitfalls I needed to go through first to sharpen the whole thing and to keep leveling up myself in order for the thing to live up to its full potential. So it's a very different way of creating, well, you know this, a very different way of creating than, let's say, 10 years ago, my former company. Like, there it was able to come from the mind. Now it cannot come from the mind. We can use the mind, but it cannot come from there.
Yeah, totally. I'm super curious around that blueprint thing.
Yeah, it still blows my mind. Okay, well, let's move to this blueprint scan that you filled in. How was it for you to fill it in?
Interesting. So some of the questions were like totally clear to me. Some were like I had resonance with maybe 1 or 2 out of 3 things. I was like, okay, if I answer with like looking at these 2 only, then I would give it a 9. But if I add the other thing, I would put it to 0. So that was sometimes challenging for me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I found it interesting and yeah, also it's also enjoyable somehow to just go through that. But sometimes I had this like, okay, these 3 words don't fit together for me. So then I gave it a 5 usually.
Yeah. Sometimes people wonder, is it a bad translation that I'm seeing here? Like I don't fully get the words and then you have to compare it. Like it brings your mind in tilt mode, which on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it measures your, let's say, energy field in which your personality is ingrained. It measures on 3 levels. So it measures your, let's say, behavior. So what you're showing to the outside world. Then a level deeper is your style of working and your deeper motives. And then the deepest level is your psyche. Those 3 levels are integrated, which makes you a totally unique human being. Of course, you're the only one in the world like you. This is already here is something you knew, but also according to the blueprint scan, there's only one of you. The deeper layers are actually a representation of the main 7 energy centers in your system. Well, of course, this is not something I tell in every boardroom that I enter.
Sure.
Because then I get thrown out very fast. Well, more and more people start to get ready to hear this. And within those 7 energy centers, there's the steering mechanism of your whole personality, you could say. So that is what has been measured. And what works best, or is maybe most enjoyable, if you would share with me a certain question that you have about yourself. Can be any question, something you're running into, a challenge, or something you feel you need to work with. And then I can take that question as a starting point from mirroring you back something from what the blueprint scan shares. So if you're up for it, just take a minute. What is a question you'd like to throw in, and then I can touch upon it. Can be personal, can be professional, can be anything.
Okay, interesting question would be, why is there a fear in me of losing joy and easiness and fun?
Why are you asking this question? Like it probably
because
means
something has been that I've been experiencing recently that like, let's say I've been able to really integrate a good amount of, let's say, joy and ease and especially joy in my life this year. And in the absence of it, there's a fear of like this not coming back.
Yeah. So it's probably more joy than you've been used to experiencing in the past. You know, you get to a certain level, and now that it's there, it's like, what if it's not there?
Yeah. And that's probably it.
Beautiful question. I'm going to show you, I don't always do this, but I think you have a mind which likes to understand. So here you see the 3 layers that I just referred to. So the behavioral level. Let's start with the behavioral level. You can call this the wheel of creation. You can also call it the wheel of samsara, depending on whether the conditioning owns you or whether you're able to transcend it and use your competencies in a way that serve you in the world. So first of all, it's very interesting with you that you cover a lot of competencies. Like you're very capable of many different things. So for you, it often starts with, so when you're more to the outside, there's more gas. You're hitting the gas, let's say. For you, it starts with having a certain expertise that you go into, then you're able to start to instruct others, create some power behind it, make things scalable. Well, that's what the past has shown you to do. You work towards a result. Then for you, it's very easy to present that result to the outside world. You are entrepreneurial with it in a very balanced way. You also love to advise. You like change. And you work towards this long-term impact that you want to make. You love to take new initiatives. You guide those initiatives. You make sure that you deliver on those initiatives. You make sure that your stakeholders are on board. You start to organize, and then you let go. So making things very efficient is something you're able to do, but ideally you give it to someone else to wrap it up, and you go back to the next thing that you can do.
That's very precise.
Okay. So you recognize this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's exactly how I do almost everything.
Okay. Well, so and you are able to do a lot within it. And I think also what you shared with me about the company that you scaled, you were at the center of it, and you were also able to be at the center of it, to be in control of many things.
And these cycles can be anything from a year to 10 years. So,
Okay. So when we then go to the deeper layers so here's actually the 7 energy centers that you see represented. So you see 2 centers that really stand out, like you're maxing on those. That's your visionary quality. So you're seeing where things can be going. And you combine that with your directing quality. So you have a deep understanding of processes. You know how to direct something to somewhere. Of systems. You're able to use technology. So that visionary quality and the directing quality is, you could call your superpower, which moves everything forward. And then you're supported by being a facilitator. So your heart is very nicely balanced. So you're not holding back there. You're also not putting extra energy on it. It's just very nicely balanced. And that sensitivity and loving energy you use to enable others to go through a process as a facilitator, as a teacher, but also as an entrepreneurial leader. You're creating the space where people feel safe,
totally,
and guided.
Makes sense.
Plus, you're supported by here the center at the throat. So you're a communicator. You have charisma, and you're able to, through your words, to excite people to move into the vision that you have. So the visionary quality, you're directing it, people are on board because they can connect to you easily, they trust you easily when they look into your eyes because they feel it's coming from a good place. And your words even amplify it. So, well, as you can see, there's a lot of power in your whole system, which to me doesn't make it surprising that you've been able to do what you've been doing. You're also holding back on 3 of the centers, of which you see this one here is at the crown. It's also, there's always a quality to things, and there can be a downside to things. So for example, going back to your visionary quality, because you see things so really well, you pay the price of a certain seriousness in your undercurrent. Because you see things really well, you can feel responsible, and then the world can be on your shoulders.
Oh yeah, that's a very familiar feeling. My life's been a burden for many years, and that's how was my story around my life.
And I think this is what you started to experience, that life is serious and not serious at the same time. So that you can start to live lighter, and when you start to live lighter, it becomes more easy to feel that joy. But in the undercurrent, it's there, and as we are all keep evolving in our awareness, and you specifically because you're bringing a lot of energy to it, the sense of seeing will only deepen. So the sense of responsibility will probably not become less. So that can be a challenge to, stay in that lightness there. But okay, this was an example of how there
Makes
can
sense.
also be a downside to something that is an upside.
Can I say something crazy? Like, I do believe I have the ability to, I mean, obviously it's not always accurate, right? But within, let's say, 1 to 3 years, if I not only look at business, but expand that a little bit, many things that I see actually happen then. I wouldn't say I can read the future, but I have a gut feel around certain things. It's almost 80% right.
Yeah.
If it hits on a certain level, it doesn't hit on a certain level, I know it's only 5%. If it hits on a certain level, it's almost always right. And that's how I've built my businesses. I have no fucking idea around my business plans, but I just gut feel based.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. And with you, I would make the distinction between there's the seeing and the intuition of the third eye and the feeling and the sensitivity of the heart. And you're combining both there.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's a seeing feeling with you,
Yeah.
which amplifies the knowing.
Interesting.
So on the center here, you're holding back, so there's less energy on it. The quality that arises there is that while you enter a room or a group of people, an organization, and right away you see where things are not right.
Yeah.
So right away, boom.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot of information.
Yeah.
Just, you see it.
Yeah.
So there's the quality there, because from there you can start to improve. This is one of the reasons why you've been able to make such a lot of speed in scaling the company. You can go fast. But you do pay a price, because the moment you see things that are not right in the outside world, your whole personality structure doesn't make a difference between the outer and the inner world. So there's in your undercurrent, and you may be aware of it or maybe not, but in the undercurrent there's a limiting belief, and it is the following: it cannot be true that I am okay.
Yeah.
Because that radar is going inside to where is it not right within myself.
Yeah.
And this can be holding you back in truly standing for, and your past doesn't show it because of all the level of success you've been having, but truly standing up for what you believe in. To fully stand in your leadership about yourself and others. Like, you do have all of these leadership qualities, but this side of it, there can be something that is holding you back. Right? When you go back, let's say from a psychological perspective, this is often related to a father that wasn't really there.
Yeah, totally. It was completely absent. Yeah.
Okay. So this is where you're holding back, and also energetically, it would mean to bring yourself into a further state of alignment, to open up that center even more. And that the vertical connection can deepen further. Well, then you see another one in which you're holding back here. That's the third center. The majority of the personality software doesn't really change throughout life once you're an adult. So it's ingrained into your system. Well, it doesn't mean you cannot transcend it. Of course, you transcend certain things, but the default mode of it often stays in the undercurrent.
Yeah.
This is the point that is able to change a bit over time, because it's related also to energy level. So this is fire, and you can still see that you've had some years in the past where you've been releasing energy, you were leaking energy somewhere from your system. And in the undercurrent, it's still somewhere, maybe you don't feel it yourself anymore, but it's still there, that there's less energy than you're probably able to experience.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
How do you recognize that?
I can't put that in words, but it's also directly correlated to what you said earlier. Around the, standing in my full power. So I am, let's say, way more in it than a year, 2 years, or 3 years ago. And I notice and I feel it, that it's still evolving. And
I also believe like it's just this year I've added a very important piece that gets me another step further on the journey, which is the ability to also work with people on a level that is deeper than the mind, which comes through the breathwork training I went through, which was very deep and very long process. So that was something I really strong longing for, like meeting people on something that is beyond just mind concept talking, but like really going into something and experience and holding them in whatever experience they go through. And there was a part of me that was terrified around that. So the training was good for me to go through it. And I left some old parts in that training. So, but that's there. I simply noticed that, I can't put that in words. I simply know that I have way more energy than I even had a year ago. And there's more energy available that will come to me over time. There's still a part that is also still recovering from the past.
Yeah.
Even though it's like by now almost 3 years, but these 3 years have also been intense. At least 2 of them have been intense. So I just know that, and I don't know where. And I also know that I'm gonna know when these shifts happens, and I notice like there's a shift in my system, and I'm stepping up even a little further. But when you said it, I was like, yeah, I know. I know that. And that's good to hear, like, because that's how it feels. Yeah, but I'm pretty surrendered to it in terms of like I don't want to, let's say, push myself to get to that point. And I'm waiting for it to, let's say, happen while I go my path. And explore. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it does. I've had these reflections, for example, from my Zen master, without, let's say, he's just meditating together and he senses it. And it's, again, it's like totally different than 2 years ago, and there's still something to open. Yeah, so yeah, I'm curious when that's going to happen. And
Well, now there's the last center here, the first center. You're only holding back a little bit on it. That's also where your rebelliousness is coming from.
Yeah.
To do things differently. This is more connected to the feminine energy, like father, let's say, in here, heaven. Mother, it is earth. This does indicate that life hasn't always felt safe. You're somewhere in childhood.
Yeah, definitely didn't.
And therefore you wanted to be able to get away from where you are. So this is important for you to have certain flexibility.
Yeah.
And I think you're quite well grounded, but there's even more grounding possible. So there's less resistance to really be in the physical plane. Yeah. Then also, and this will for you also be an important gateway to experiencing more energy, to let the energy flow more and more through your whole system, to make it very physical. So part of your inner work, I would say, is very physical in the next levels of it.
Yeah.
So that whole life force can start to flow on another level.
Yeah, I agree. Makes lots of sense.
Well, and then going to your question. So the fear of, let's say, lose a bit of the joy, or what is it that you start to experience more and more? It's related to your to the second center. So I told you that there's this enormous quality within you to direct things, to create processes. The second center is about water. So you could say in a more abstract way, you know how to guide the water, how to let the water flow in a certain way. When you overdo it, things become control. So there's a tendency within you to want to control things.
Oh yeah.
And again, that is also your superpower. And when I've been listening to your story, I think it's even your desire to be free and independent in the end comes also from wanting to control. You want to control your own state. You want to control what you experience, and you want to be independent from everything.
Yeah.
And this has been an important driver also in creating your company and become financially free. underneath control, there's fear. So fear physically sits on your kidneys. Your kidneys are about water. This is what the Taoists found out thousands of years ago. So that fear is the positive form of it, how to direct things. Now you've been able to bring yourself into a state of experiencing more joy, but again, now the control kicks in. Like I want to be able to control how I feel. So the big invitation underneath it is how to surrender even more to life. And I think you've been doing it on different levels. And now a next lesson is there. Can you even surrender to not feeling joyful? And let life even more flow through you without wanting to control how you feel. And I don't have to tell you, know of this, that the life lessons that you experience also are coming from not feeling joyful, or just feeling shitty. And if that's what's needed to bring you to the next level, that is what's needed. So in the way you are already doing your meditation like this without any grasping for whatever it is you want to experience, you just sit and feel whatever it's to be felt. Can you even bring that to the next level in your life when it comes to not grasping joy? Of course, you can have the intention to feel joyful, but not. Are you comfortable with even letting go? Okay, what if it leaves my system? To not control it. So that's the big invitation. Can you even, and I think you're already doing it on the high level, but even more, can you let life and time do even more of the work for you? Can you let the water flow even more in every aspect of life?
That's funny because that's kind of like what I've been reflecting on since I got to the monastery. How can I develop even more power through more flow? And then the mind coming in the way and saying, but then where's my place in it? What can I contribute here? So it's interesting that you say that because totally makes sense. And it's this trusting in that by allowing more flow, there's even more power. And then the mind gets a little anxious around, okay, what do I have to do with it then? So that has been a bit my exploration. And also this like, exactly what you said, like surrender to joy and also the absence of joy, but then also knowing that I can create moments of joy by using the mind. So this is like the interesting paradox I'm sitting in and allowing that more. It totally makes sense. Interesting that you see that just from that questions. Pretty cool.
Right.
It's very precise. Very precise. Everything you said was super spot on. Crazy. Exactly. Also, this grasping at joy. It's exactly that. The mind that, if you've experienced that, let's do more of it. It's the same mechanism that's why I'm also careful with drugs, because I do have that tendency of like, okay, this was great. No, let's do that every day. And then the absence of it is then not great anymore. Makes sense.
It's very interesting. I loved what you shared about how your stance towards your business partner and your life partner, that you want to be able to, it's also fine when it's not there. At the same time, it's beautiful that it is there. So I think there's a lot of truth in there. And at the same time, the other side of the coin is also you want to be able to be in control and not dependent on anyone. So there's the beauty of the stance, and there's also this thing that could be underneath it. You want to do everything that you can to be in control, that you're not dependent on anyone or anything. And maybe there could even be a next level lesson in it for you there. What if there is dependency? And can you let go of that?
And I mean, that's that says, especially in the romantic relationship, there definitely is dependency. There are certain qualities and things that I can access with her that are hard to, almost impossible to access for myself. There are certain experiences that, unless I'm a yogi sitting in my fucking cave and have the ability to meditate me into whatever state I want within that, there's certain things like a certain level of love and affection that I can only experience with a partner. As much as I like any, only possible with that. And also the depth of openness that is there in my relationship. That felt scary to me, to a part of me at the very beginning, and I had a process of like allowing that. So yeah, there clearly is some dependencies. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you.
Interesting. Be cool. Thank you.
It still amazes me every time. Like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
To go from these questions to it's a true measurement of the energy field.
Yeah, it's super precise. Like you said, you have this surrendering, and also the surrendering to things being as they are, and with that comes the acceptance of dependencies. It's interesting. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah,
I take that into my meditation retreat and see what happens then.
When you look at the world, what do you feel is your reason for walking the planet? Like you've been sharing the things that you're working on and you've been doing, but do you feel a sense of purpose that you can put into words? It's always hard to put it into words.
Yeah.
What is your reason for being here?
Okay, to be very honest, that might sound very spiritual, but that's why I mentioned the Zen Master Path. It is, and I don't know if it exists, but it is in the end the process of realizing the true nature. That's also where I have the most energy for. That's why I can also sit for hours in meditation. My knees hurt, my back hurts, everything. I sit. I could literally sit until I just fall over. Can stop eating, can stop drinking, no problem. Like the strongest pull I feel from anything that has to do with a deeper understanding of what the fuck is this all about? Like, who created this and why is it here and is it even real or not? That is ultimately what is a strong driving force. And while I'm discovering that deeper and deeper, and while I would say this is my primary purpose, there are super beautiful, super meaningful side products. There's doing healing work with people, building meaningful companies that have a positive impact on the way we live together as people on that planet. Experiencing love and joy with my partner. They're really beautiful things while I'm walking that path on understanding and eventually realizing what that all is about. I can't give an answer in words. I don't know if that makes sense.
I like the answer.
But that's really, I felt it into many times. And whenever I create something that I then call my purpose and write it down or anything, it already feels wrong in the moment I look at it. And that does not mean, like, sometimes I don't like the idea in the purpose movement that, like, if what I do is not on purpose and it's not my purpose, then I don't do my best. That's not true. When I run a retreat, when I facilitate with Sophie, when I with Louis, and I and then look at it, and the stuff is beautiful that comes into existence, and it is great stuff, and I'm really giving it my best. And not all of my actions are directed towards insight, because if that was the case, I would sit here all day, take ayahuasca, meditate, yoga, and whatever. But it's also so I have more felt purpose that pulls me in certain directions than a mind-based purpose. And I think many people, like, everyone is a little different. Right? It's just my way of, like, feeling into purpose and going about it.
No, I can relate. Like, I see the closer you get to truly living purpose, the harder it becomes to put it into words.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The moment you put it into words, it's mind. It's not real anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like when I say my new company Acta is my purpose, I feel like I wouldn't do my real purpose justice. Because it is part of my purpose in this moment,
It belongs to it, otherwise I wouldn't be acting on it. And the reason for living, for being, is much bigger. So that's why I struggle with purpose.
But I get it.
If you put me into one day purpose workshop, I guarantee it's going to be disaster for me.
Yeah.
After 10 minutes, I'm like, shit, no, fuck this, I can't.
That's a downside indeed of, let's say, purpose workshop, that many people that may go into it, they're happy with the result, but it's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It may give some direction for a certain point in time, but sometimes I meet people that, 2 years ago, since 2 years I know my purpose. It's this. And I think, no, it's not your purpose. But they hold on to it, and it actually derails them from getting closer to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more concrete it becomes, and it's, in the worst case, it's like described as an organization with certain attributes and a certain numbers. This insanity in the end. And I think the closer the purpose comes to certain qualities we want to demonstrate in life, that's something I can relate with. So, right, if I want to have 5 core human qualities that I want to see more in the world of, and whatever leads to that, that's where I put my energy in. That's a purpose, way of talking about purpose I can relate with. That has some freedom, some flexibility, but it's very clear in terms of what are the qualities I want to demonstrate and share with people. That's something that works for me. But once it's like a construct, a company, organization, that's then like, if that is a great vehicle for your purpose to come into life, I get that, but it's not the purpose itself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you've been going through this whole journey yourself as an entrepreneur and human being. When you look into the outside world, when you look at let's say the whole entrepreneurial scene, the business scene, do you see there's a shift happening there as well, or not? Is it going somewhere? What is your perspective?
Oh yeah, that's super interesting. I would say there is a shift, and at the same time there's no real shift. There's clearly a shift in, let's say, or especially in movements like yours or what I'm doing, and like what people like us try to bring in the world, right? This is definitely bigger than, let's say, 10, 20, 30 years ago. So that I clearly observe, and I think I also see there's more and more of that. Also, when I now go to retreats, the number of entrepreneurs I meet there is way higher than 5, 6 years ago. Even like in Tantra retreats, like sometimes I'm like surprised by the background of people there, right? So that's something I clearly observe. If I then look at the biggest, let's say, especially tech movements that we have right now in the world economy, and if I only look at the driving force and the energy behind it, nothing has changed. The most important businesses as of today, let's define important as having impact on people's daily life, is driven by greed, by fear, and by a total illusion about who they really are, and high traumatized people. And that has not changed over the last decades. So that's why I'm also quite pessimistic around the impact of AI on the world, because as great as the technology might be, and I mean, Acta is a company that also works a lot with AI and even builds products in it, right? It's a core where it stems from. It's the same fucking thing than, let's say, an oil company, where everyone look at today and say, oh, how bad is an oil company, or let's say liquors and tobacco, and everyone by now is like, oh, that's not great, you shouldn't work for such a company, what bad energy. But this is the same thing, just different products. Greed, it's fear, and it's an illusion. And so that's why my outlook is actually not super positive. Also, when we speak about super intelligence, it will be if the blueprint for the super intelligence is a human system that is primarily living from a place of fear and greed, that thing is going to do the same.
It's a simple saying, crap in, crap out. But so that's what I see. But I also, just that's on a negative. But on the positive, there are definitely more entrepreneurs that want to see something different in the world and then go for it. One thing from my point of view to watch out for is sometimes I see these shifts happening really fast from, okay, I've built a certain company, now I do the next step and I build something that is impactful. But there we're missing an opportunity, I believe. It's really hard to put it in words, but there's something even deeper that becomes available when I give things enough time and I really explore on a very deep level why I'm doing what I'm doing and what is my true human potential. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but like if I sit long, like say for example in Zen we have these like certain core qualities like I'm missing the English word now, but compassion, love, and these core qualities are more states than, let's say, feelings. And if I find ways to access and then act from these states, my action will be very different. And that's an opportunity that is there for people that have exited and have some time to really go deep and not take the first step, which is, I had a product I don't care so much for, I need my money, now I do something that has impact. And that's better than the old, but there's something deeper that can emerge.
I can totally relate to that. I often advise entrepreneurs who exit, like, probably the wisest thing you can do is do nothing for the next 2 years and work on yourself. Because many times of course, new opportunities come to them. They cannot help themselves. They jump in it before they know their time is gone again. And then it seems impactful, but often it's an untrue narrative that is... From my perspective at least, I think that's not impact. You're actually fucking things up even further. Like what you see is happening with AI.
It's exactly that. And for example, let's say, I would say for most people that went on a path like me, which is like I run a company that I actually don't care so much for, but gives me a lot of money, greed is a strong driver. So now if I don't look at my greed, understand where it comes from and like take away its power over me, I might create a business that has, let's say, a better product that the world needs, quote unquote, but that still might be based on having, cheap workers in China or whatever. The same greed will lead that impactful business. And then I will continue accumulating millions of dollars and call it more impactful. Not seeing that I might be able to have much bigger impact on, let's say, the way we live together on the planet if I would stop accumulating and use that resources in a different way. Right? And I say exactly that because that has been a big process for me. And I stepped out of the game of accumulating, like fully, and I can claim and fully on that. If anyone would look at my entrepreneurial activities, the accumulating is clearly over. And I'm redirecting funds in all sorts of different ways. And none of these action is directed towards increasing my personal wealth. I can even prove that. That's been a big process for me because I realized my impact on the world is going to be limited if I'm still in the game of accumulating, just with a better product. And the accumulation is actually what has, from my point of view, one of the biggest issues we are facing as humanity, is that we don't understand that greed is a driver behind endless accumulation. That would be quite easy actually to work on it on a way where many people, especially very rich people, would stop accumulating earlier, and they can still be then very wealthy and have enough money for the next 50 years, but no one needs enough money for the next 5,000 years. And that's basically what I did. I said everything that is beyond 50 years, I don't need that. I'm going to be dead by then or close to dying. So everything that I don't need for this, I'm happy to give up.
So what is your perspective on, I can relate to what you're saying. So there is a shift and there's not a shift. To truly make the shift, what is needed? Let's say we are positive and we believe that everything is possible here. How to get there and what can we do or not do?
I would personally say insight into the nature of life, insight into our true nature. When I suddenly, and for me it has been definitely has been the case, when I had these moments of like seeing that, yes, I am all of these parts here, the part that has greed, but also the part that has compassion, and the part that can feel joy, and the part that is sad, and the part that wants a business, and the part that wants a partner. I'm all of that, and I'm something much bigger. At the same time, I found the peace I was looking for, and I became way more relaxed with things, way more relaxed. There's still a way to go, right? And when I'm identified with certain parts, but many moments I can get out of that identification. I see actually I'm something much bigger, though I can be more relaxed, and the accumulation stopped because I completely, for example, cut the connection of my self-worth from my wealth and my accumulation. So I was able to let go of it because I saw I'm actually making myself smaller than I am by attaching myself first to my ability to accumulate resources. That's one part. The second part is in that realization of, let's call it true nature for a moment, which is just once again a word. There also lies the realizing the interconnectedness or the oneness, which, from my point of view, has the potential to bring up an almost endless, deep amount of compassion for other human beings, and in the second step also other beings, sentient beings. Yeah, and I think everything that leads to that insights is what is needed. These insights are needed on a large scale, and there are two things, and that's actually the path that I'm working. We haven't been really talking about that, but when I, let's say, teach, and the path that I'm on is, I put a lot of energy towards spiritual insight. Then I know spiritual insight without integration is worth nothing. It's not going to lead to actual change. That's why I have Zen, and where I have conscious connected breathwork, and a special form of it that helps with the integration. And that's a path for me. What the world needs is bring back spirituality into people's life, because the church fucked it up, but we need it on a large scale, but not the old way, a new way. And then the tools to integrate it, to live in the regulated way, regulated, balanced way, where the nervous system is not constantly in fight or flight. For then the insights to actually be integrated. That's what I believe is needed, and on a large scale. So ideally, we just, I don't know, put MDMA into a drinking water, and then have everyone everyone have a therapy session 3 times a week, and things would be different. But that's on a large scale. It can also be meditation. It doesn't need to be psychedelics. I actually think for Westerners, psychedelics can be quite dangerous. So maybe it's meditation, but that's my thinking around it. We need both. We need spiritual practice, integration practice. None of these is better than the other. We need both, because therapy is going to be endless.
Yeah,
spiritual practice cuts through that and shows us who we really are. But then, if we had the insight, we have no chance to live like that if our nervous system is still living from the past.
Yeah,
that's my view on it. And I'm seeing, and actually every action, entrepreneurial action I have, is kind of directed to finding ways how to bring that into the world, and I have no idea on how to do that on large scale yet. Maybe I figure out, maybe not, I don't know.
Well, in the end, everything that you do within yourself has a ripple effect anyway in the frequency. So, yeah, on a small scale in that way is a large scale too.
Yeah.
Well, that will be my hope, that enough people, whoever they are, make the inner shifts, increase their frequency, and then, let's say, also the people in power in let's say, the biggest companies in the world, which I agree with you, are most of the time driven by deep trauma. Something opens up there too.
Yeah.
Or the systems that are being created. I think the level of control that is possible through AI in the next couple of years going to be this
God.
madness. But yeah, we as users allow it to control or not.
Yeah.
So the moment we allow it not to control, there's no power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of us.
Agree. And maybe there's some points of realization that like other people that I know, like where people look up to, let's say Elon Musk or like Sam Altman, whatever. I actually argue that they're not even close to living their fullest potential as human beings. They might access their fullest potential in terms of how much entrepreneurial energy they can distribute to the world. Okay, fair enough, that's pretty impressive. But we as human beings, we have a fucking range of qualities. We're not only entrepreneurs, so much more. And these guys honestly have zero access to that. Like I've seen people in regular jobs living more of their human potential than these guys, honestly.
Now you can see it's not coming from here. No, there's a disconnect still.
Yeah, massive disconnect. And what would happen if, like, for these people with that brain capacity, because they're like hyper intelligent, right? If their heart would open, so many things would be possible. Yeah, and they have pretty strong protectors on that. Don't allow them to go there.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to see for the world. And you know, maybe we don't even need that mass kind of like mass awakening. We would maybe just need, like, I don't know, the top 1,000 leaders in the world to like find access to their heart and just live a few different qualities. That's going to have a massive ripple effect.
For sure.
So that's a hope we can have. But if that doesn't happen, I think the next 5 to 10 years, going to be really interesting. And to be honest, I'm very happy that, let's say, I mean, you and me, we're in a place where like we're all going to be affected, but in a certain way, you know, we have our way of seeing a bit through the illusion, and it gives me some peace. Even though like circumstances might be fucked up, but it's, I don't know, it doesn't feel without the ability to, let's say, see through stuff, it must be threatening. It must feel like really weird.
Yeah, that must be horrifying.
Yeah.
I had that last week. I was in Morocco. I've been guiding some retreats, and that was my final day. And I checked into my Airbnb, and I bumped my head while walking up the stairs, like really, like, oh fuck. Really like a, what is it called? When you get your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bumped my head really hard. And for a couple of hours when I was walking the street to get some food, I was feeling like I was not fully in my body. Like it was, and I felt fear. Like I really had to watch my steps to not bump into anything or whatever. And I'm not used to feeling the feeling of fear. So, but it helped me very much to relate to people who experience fear. Like, oh, but this is what it feels to be fearful of something, when this is an earth is like a hostile place, when with everything that's going on. I could relate to it.
Interesting.
For the first time in a very long time. Like, oh shit, I start to understand what it feels to be a victim of whatever's going on into the world. And normally, for me indeed, I can see through the illusion and I'm totally fine in a weird way. It can sometimes be a bit entertaining. But it's really helped me. And 2 days later, I had a leadership meeting within the Wake Origins, and Non now is also my guide. She said, "What happened to you?" He said, "You're still scattered all around. You're not fully in your body yet because of this concussion that I had." So she supported me to bring me back into my whole system.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fear, I was actually grateful for experiencing it. Like, now I understand a bit better. What many people do on a daily basis.
Like I told you before about the where I learned the hospice work from. This author, Stephen Levine. And I know he has another book which is called Embracing the Beloved. And it has also this idea that I believe if that becomes a practice for more people, that could potentially really change the world.
which
The practice of embracing the beloved.
yeah, which is ultimately how I live, and especially how I live relationships, from friendship, business, but also my romantic relationship. It's like two people come together and form a bond, and then recognize the mind, the two minds that come together, as not my mind and your mind, but the mind. And what then happens is thought occurs in the mind, and these two people, and then there are thoughts that is maybe not comfortable, that is thought that would usually create friction in the bond. Once we agree on it is the mind, because just think about it, thoughts just occur involuntarily. My life would be easier if I wouldn't have certain thoughts. If I could turn them off, life would be much easier, but they just come, right? So can maybe take away my personal responsibility for certain thought that I have, and if I allow the other person to also not be responsible for her thoughts. So now the two of us, are up against the thought of the mind, instead of I am up against your thoughts and you are up against my thoughts. And I better not say what I'm thinking, because then you leave the bond. And she better not say what she's thinking, because then I'm going to leave the bond. So it's all a very fragile, very carefully curated, managed thing. And if I ever dare to say what's really there in my mind, I will lose the connection, which then touches one of my deepest wounds of whatever abandonment and what do I know. So it feels like life or death on the nervous system level. So I probably never say the truth of what is really here in my mind. So now if we can agree on the fact that thoughts come and go involuntarily, and we are one up against the mind instead of two minds against each other, relationship becomes a spiritual practice of investigating who are we really, and relationships become way more safe and reliable. Right? If we can agree on that, and if we have a practice, meditation, whatever practice that allows us to access that, and then love can actually unfold its fullest potential, because it moves from I love you as long as you not say what's on your mind, and the other way around, to I love you no matter what, because I see that's just a fucking thought. It has nothing to do with who you are. And maybe even the next step is then I see that thought is not who you are. I see the emotional response that you have is also not who you are, because it's just a reaction of your system to the thought that you haven't chosen. And now even your bodily reaction to it is also not voluntarily. Obviously something different is the person has taken a certain action. That's then where the level of the mind comes in. I have conscious, I've taken a certain action that hurts you, that's a different story. But everything until that point is only to a certain percentage voluntarily, and so big part, it's just happening. It's life process unfolding, and we have no control over it. If we can give each other that gift, say I take you away from your responsibility and you from mine. And now imagine a community does that. So that's something that we're very passionate about, and I'm really practicing that in my romantic relationship.
So how does that work on a daily basis? How you practice the practice?
The practice in the practice means to always speak the truth that is here, and to remain in contact while we do that. So these can have two ways of doing it. So either we come together and both of us contain the thoughts and the emotions that are here, and then we share them, but in a contained way with, let's say, little expression. Then we can just sit across each other and can share these things without the other person going into a process around that. The next step of it is, because no system can contain all emotions. Sometimes they need to flow because they simply, the energy needs to come out. So then we basically we touch each other, really holding each other while we are having both our processes. So there might even be anger while we are touching each other. But that signals the nervous system, hey, it's safe. So there might be sadness, there might be some anger, there might be something, but we are in contact, touching, waiting for both systems to finish their processes that can go from 3 minutes to half an hour, to realize when it's all over, we're done. Process done here. Nothing has actually changed. And obviously that depends on what it is that is moving through us, where this becomes easier. So that's why it is practice. It might be not available if someone has done something super bad. Let's say I've cheated on my partner. Okay, maybe that's a bit too much of an ask without practice. But in theory, even that, if done through practice, will be the better process for both systems than, let's say, being apart and not sharing with each other. So the practice is really just sitting and sharing, touching and sharing if there's emotion involved.
It can also be without words.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And really keeping the connection. Like we have this idea of like, you say something I don't like, I step out of our connection. I do something, maybe remove myself or energetically shut down. Or in a romantic relationship, how many times we then punish the other person with like reducing love, or let's say not giving them any love for a day or something like that. It's such a learned thing, because that's also what I learned from my parents, but such a bullshit. What if we recognize the other as one? Why can't we just stay in this relationship, in the context, in touch, in connection, while the process is fine. It's not about suppressing anything, but like keeping the connection while process is running. Yeah. This is what I want for the world. I think it would make so many things so much easier. And I would always say it is practice. The system needs to get used to it, because we are conditioned the other way around. Yeah. It's not easy to pull it off, but it's worth the effort. In any terms of meditative practice and a commitment to just see what happens if we hold each other while we are angry at each other. See what that does. And what it does, it saves us 4 hours of fucking lifetime. Because what happens, right, there's a fight, 5 hours later, it's all good again. And nothing has changed. The facts haven't changed. Yeah. I said sorry, the other person said sorry. The both egos are like, oh, nice, I received my sorry. I was looking for fucking 5 hours. Now I can finally relax. What if we could do that in 15 minutes, because the nervous system co-regulates while the mind is having their process? So I'm very passionate about that.
That's beautiful.
And that's what I want to practice in almost all relationships.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you for taking the time to do this conversation. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed that. It was really fun. Really cool.
Likewise.
Thank you.
If you want more conversations like this, you know what to do.